Welcome on in, everybody, here to the Auburn Undercover YouTube channel, auburnundercover.com. I am Nathan King, as always, joined by Jason Caldwell here on the Pregame Blitz. Jason, the rain calmed down just enough for us to get our pregame video in here. It's been on and off all morning. Who knows what it's going to look like by 6:30 tonight. Jason, you know, the number one talking point of this game is obviously we knew all week it was going to be the quarterback position. Yesterday on Friday we learned it's going to be Hank Brown getting the start for Auburn. Just first of all, talk about your reaction to that. You know, obviously it's been a big build-up this week. We've been talking about it for days, and Hugh Freeze is going to give the redshirt freshman a go.
Not a huge surprise when we heard it starting on Monday, really, about kind of the decision-making, the things that went on with Peyton Thorne last week. I think if you're going to figure out what Hank Brown is and if he could be the guy, this is the perfect time to do it. Now, the weather might not be the perfect weather to go out and throw it around a bunch, but I don't know that was going to happen no matter who the quarterback was, because I still think we're going to see more running game, maybe a little bit more play action, a little bit less of the true RPO, maybe a little bit. And so I think no matter what, you're going to see Auburn try to run the football, get Hank Brown some easy throws, try to get some rhythm built up. And I think that was going to be the base of the offense no matter who it was.
Yeah, I mean, this game is so interesting because how much can you learn against a team that, as we talked about this week, is the dead last defense in the country in terms of yards per play. But Jason, as we talked about on our Thursday live show, this will be more about execution because the coaching staff will be able to see more than we can.
Yeah.
If it's a 5-yard out, an 8-yard out, you know, if Hank Brown goes 7 of 10, we might think that's great. The coaching staff might see a bunch of things he missed protection-wise. And so this game is going to be about getting those reps on the field. And again, that is why the weather is kind of important. If you're Auburn, you'd hate for a downpour to just start in the second half, and all of a sudden your quarterback reps are trimmed in that instance.
Correct. I think you're right. This is about execution. You can learn, can you execute? And you may not know that as much, because here's the thing. There probably wasn't, and when Freeze talked about it, there wasn't the execution even in week 1 that they were looking for. Right. There were some things where decisions weren't made correctly, but you're still able to make plays because Alabama A&M.
Right.
Those are things that you can't do moving forward, and they did, and we saw what happened last week. And so, I think Hank Brown, can he execute? Can he get the ball in the hands of your playmakers? That's the thing we didn't see last week. Can you get the ball in the hands of those guys outside? We haven't really seen Robert Lewis be a factor at all in the offense at this point. Obviously, Malcolm Simmons, more of him moving forward. I think we'll see more of Perry Thompson. We'll see about Cam Coleman. Probably kind of figure out what he looks like in warm-ups and kind of go from there. But there are plenty of guys to make plays in this offense, and you don't have to throw it 50 yards down the field to get it to them. Can you play within the framework of the offense, get the ball in those guys' hands, and make plays?
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally excited to see what Hank Brown looks like in a starting type capacity. We've only seen him come in garbage time. We obviously saw him in that Music City Bowl. They weren't really running their system kind of late in that game. It was just kind of straight drop back stuff, so I'm interested to see how he goes out there and executes. Some other areas of this game, Jason, you know, Auburn's a 4-touchdown favorite here, but this New Mexico offense, Auburn will probably have to score a decent bit in order to feel good in this game. I hesitate to say this is a good warm-up for Taylon Green, because you never want to say that and jinx what's going to happen tonight. But Devin Dampier, we mentioned the defense is really bad for New Mexico, but Devin Dampier and Bronco Mendenhall's offense for New Mexico has been pretty dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, he can make plays with his legs. He can break down the defense by scrambling, running around. So you have to be really sound defensively. I think we'll see Auburn continue to pressure and go, hey, look, we've got to make plays, and you got to create some pressure on guys. And so I think we'll see that. Probably the most interesting thing other than quarterbacks in the offensive line. When you look at it, I think you're going to see them run the football no matter what, but you're going to see probably Dylan Wade at right tackle, maybe Percy Lewis at left, but I think we're going to see maybe 3 or 4 different groups of guys on the offensive line before today is over with, and to see maybe which one's the best.
Right. Yeah, moving into the SC opener, that's something you want a few games in. Hugh Freeze said it would take a few games on the offensive line. I'm not sure they predicted it to things to move the way they have. We'll see if Tyler Johnson's able to get in with some run at left tackle. But obviously, all eyes will be on Hank Brown. We'll see if Peyton Thorne gets some run in this game, what they decide to do after giving Hank Brown the first few series. Do they then put Thorne in? It'll be interesting. We want to cut it now to bring in Christian Clemente, our recruiting reporter, to talk about the day and any visitors that they have and kind of the news that you guys are looking for on the recruiting side.
Yeah, Jason, it's look, this Auburn staff always does it. Every single weekend, it's a recruiting weekend. They will get guys on campus no matter what.
Yeah.
And New Mexico, after two big weekends
Two more to
coming
come.
up, you still get some guys in that are pretty important.
We thought this was going to be a kind of a throwaway weekend a little bit with a bunch of young guys. And there are a bunch of young guys, but there's some really good players on campus this weekend. A couple of guys that kind of been waiting for the shoe to drop with, potentially. And one of those is a guy that has been on campus, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Elijah Melendez. I mean, we knew when he visited then, going into that weekend, we thought, look, this is a big deal. You don't know when you're going to be able to get him on campus again. You need to make a move. Well, before that game even kicks off, he decommits from Miami. Mm-hmm. Now he's back. There's a reason I'm holding my phone. We're on alert. We're trying to make sure that nothing happens with him, or being ready if something does happen. And we think that something will, which it's a guy that DJ Durkin has prioritized dating back to when he was at Texas A&M. Really liked him, continued recruiting him at Auburn, and now it'd be another impressive get there at linebacker with J.J. Falk, the versatility a little bit, Bryce Diaz, the versatility a little bit, and then still recruiting a guy like Tyler Lockhart as well.
and this big physical guy. So this is a different type of linebacker. J.J. Falk's kind of the same guy. Will J.J. get even bigger and put his hand on the ground down the road? Who knows? But this is another big physical, true linebacker guy that if you add to the class gives you another big piece on defense.
Yeah, and then it's hard to say more important because Elijah Melendez getting him back is really important, but Usman Kroma. I mean, you knew that it was going to be a battle. You got him in for the opener, but then he went to visit Georgia last weekend. All of a sudden, some buzz picks up for Georgia a little bit. He was supposed to go see South Carolina this weekend. Instead, he's expected back at Auburn. Huge for Auburn to try and seal a deal as he looks to try and make a decision before the end of this month.
Correct, yeah, and another, we're talking about Auburn adding 2 running backs in this class. You got Alvin Henderson already. Usman Kroma's a little bit bigger back, a little bit more physical kind of guy, and so it would be a good 1-2 punch if you could add those 2 guys together.
Yeah, and then you mentioned younger guys. Just touch on some of them real quick. None bigger probably than Tyler Atkinson, the 5-star linebacker from Grayson. His counterpart, Anthony Davis, the 4-star linebacker from Grayson, he'll be in as well. Bryce Perry Wright from Buford. So a lot of those young guys from the state of Georgia in that Atlanta area, they're all going to be in today, which is huge. And then Jason, it's not just football as well. It's basketball. Bruce has a couple big official visitors in.
Absolutely. Bryson Tiller's one of the top players in the country, big forward, overtime elite in Atlanta. This is a guy that Auburn's been recruiting for a while. Getting him on campus is a big deal. And then Simon Walker is a big shooting guard from Huntsville. This is a guy that Auburn has been recruiting for a long time, and he's seen his stock steadily increase. He was really good at the top 100 this summer. He's up to 147, solid 4-star prospect. And so those 2 guys on campus had a big 4-star guy in last weekend. Another top 10 type player in Bryson Tiller in this weekend. A couple more visitors scheduled next week. This is kind of that big time for basketball heading into their season.
All leading up to tip-off of Tumors as well. I'm assuming, I don't think that's during the dead period, so I'm assuming they'll have recruits.
Yeah, I would imagine that Thursday night will probably be kicking off a pretty big weekend as well.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up there for the pregame blitz. Appreciate everyone tuning in here. Make sure you're locked in at auburnundercover.com for full recruiting coverage, full game coverage, all that stuff, and we'll see you guys over there.